Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Norfolk, England, where the Broken Wing Racing League arrives at the newly converted Snetterton Circuit. Once a proud United States Army airfield during the war, tonight these former runways shall echo not with bombers, but with the thunder of motor racing. And there they go, the drivers charge away in a roaring cloud of smoke and fury as the field storms down the old airfield straightaway. My word, look at them hustle those machines about. And merciful heavens, Shane Goins gets sideways straight into Scott Ray. And Daniel Varon loses the motor car right in front of Peter Flanner. And now Flanner himself has lost control. Around he goes in a tremendous spin across the circuit. And after all that excitement, it's Brian McGrath who takes the victory in the heat race. A marvelous display of driving under difficult conditions. And listen to that crowd roar with approval. Between racers, the drivers enjoy a brief respite with the cigarette sandwiches and perhaps a steadying cup of tea right before returning once more to battle. Oh heavens, Noah Ricketts has been sent tumbling off the racing surface after a proper kerfluffle in the corner. And now tempers boil over. There are fisticuffs in the paddock involving Andrew Simmons, Kyle Caesar, and Jonathan DeKaisha. It appears the officials have their hands full tonight. This feature race now reaches full song as the drivers wrestle these machines around Snetterton at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. But tragedy strikes the leaders as Isaac Gardner and Brian McGrath will collide and collect poor Trey Mistack in the process. And there they go. And the victory will belong to Chris Chitterling. Jason Chen follows him home in second, with Isaac Gardner recovering for third position. Look as Chitterling dances the car around the circuit. What control! And for his marvelous triumph, Mr. Chitterling shall receive an evening's grand prize, a live chicken and a sack of flour. Congratulations, Mr. Chitterling.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're broadcasting live using the latest and most sophisticated satellite technology ever developed to bring you round 8 of the Broken Wing Racing League's MX-5 Championship. Standing alongside me, beaming his commentary through advanced radio wave technology, is a fellow transatlantic cohort, Dylan Thomas.
Well, hello, Mark.
I enjoyed that so much. That was excellent. Thank you for providing your services. There's a voiceover. That was fantastic.
Well, that was actually my grandfather, Pete Thomas. It was old archive footage that we uncovered. But it's funny how it just matched up perfectly with last week's race at Snetterton. It was adventurous. There were some issues obviously there, but the racing was really good. The track was really difficult, and I had the fortune of being able to race that one and be on the track with these guys. It was a blast.
Yeah, sad to miss it. It's one closest to my hometown, actually. This week we're in Oulton Park, a little bit further away from where I'm from in England, up in the frozen North Tundra. And this is round 8, Oulton Park. We're doing the international layout without Britons, a much hated little chicane, so drivers will be pleased to see that removed. So they've got a nice big long back straight where they can go flat out, get some draft, and then thread it through another little Mickey Mouse chicane with some very, very robust tyre barriers in it. So I'm expecting some more fireworks today, but a familiar circuit with most of our drivers, one of the rookie series courses that they're also familiar with. We'll leave England next week. We'll go to Oschersleben in Germany, then Road Atlanta, Tsukuba, and then we'll be finishing our season at the Charlotte Roval. So only 4 rounds left after this one, and we will have a champion crowned very, very soon. If we have a look at the points standing, it's Chris Chitterling who currently leads the points. He's got about 500 points of a cushion over second place Isaac Gardner, which is reasonably comfortable given how close this season has been so far. Trey Mistak, the man starting from the back, is still holding on to P3, just ahead of Brian McGrath, who's had kind of a late season surge. He's been racking up the results and climbing forwards, currently P2 in practice as we speak. Elliot Burton's there in P5, ahead of Joshua Grosso, who's slipping back slightly down the order with some sort of sketchy qualifying and unlucky race results.
Yeah, and going into P7, we have Matthew Mascari. We've seen him race up towards the front. He has a race win on the season, so he's sitting in P7 right ahead of Kyle Caesar, who did struggle last week at Snetterton. We saw in the old-timey footage that he had some incidents early on, and from those, he is actually going to be serving a qualifying ban. So, you know, Mark, you and I, we've kind of called that he was going to make a comeback this season, but he's got a lot of uphill work to do to get caught up to first place. So right behind him is going to be Jonathan DeKeischer, who we have seen really good performances out of him. He's always running towards the front of the pack. He's always in the mix. So I think we will see something out of him, and I don't think we'll be seeing the Cheetos car of Andrew Simmons tonight. We've seen that Cheetos car get crunchy bagged up a couple times, but he's been able to get some performances out of it despite some of his bad luck, but he won't be here tonight. Shane Goins, we saw him have a little incident earlier last week. He's sitting in P11. And Jason Chen, who was able to finish second place. Pretty good performance out of him, and that has bolted him up towards P12 in the top 12 of our standings.
Yeah, good to see him in there. I remember making a few videos with him, and he seemed to be avoiding chaos and getting into trouble. So, yeah, I think P12 is the least he deserves based on his pace. Dylan, I believe you have some info about the racetrack that we are going to use tonight. Would you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Earlier this season, we had our Florida leg of the schedule. So we stayed in Florida for a while. And now the series, it remains in England for another week after an eventful round at Snetterton, as we saw last time out. And tonight, the Mazda MX-5 field takes on one of the most iconic circuits in British motorsport. And speaking of British returns, Mark, I forgot to say, welcome back to the broadcast booth for what should be an outstanding night of racing. I'm glad to have you back. Oulton Park, it's a great track. It's one of my favorites in almost any series. It's really fast and flowing. It began life in the early 1950s, built through grounds of a former country estate, and to this day, it remains one of the most challenging tracks in the UK. It's narrow at times, it's very fast, and it's packed with elevation changes. It rewards confidence, and it punishes mistakes instantly. And these MX-5s should put on a show here. Watch for the action into Old Hall Corner and on the opening lap, and especially the run uphill into Druids, one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. Momentum is everything around this place, and with how closely these cars race and with the draft, drivers are going to be under pressure every single lap. This is a proper driver's track, a proper racing car, and all the ingredients are here for another classic, which is the theme of the night.
Well said. Nice. Are you ready for our Wizard of Oz moment? We'll quickly turn this back on. There we go. Back to the 21st century. Isn't
Live
it beautiful?
and in color.
We're back. We're so back. Well, practice finishes just now. Quick check on who's showing pace. Kyle Caesar leading practice with a 1:46.8. Brian McGrath, the next man behind him, is 6/10 away. So work to do to dethrone Mr. Caesar as we start open qualifying. We will not be seeing Mr. Caesar qualify, and we will not see Isaac Gardner. They racked up enough penalty points to serve a qualifying ban, so they have to sit in the pits and watch everyone else play, and then they will have to start at the back. So it'll be very interesting to see how the grid actually shapes up once we've got everybody settled. Here is the pit lane exit camera. We can see them all flooding out on track. One of the quirks, features, however you like to describe it, of BWRL is open qualifying. So everybody, that's all 27 drivers out there on track at the same time, -2, our second place championship leader and our winningest driver, Kyle Caesar. They'll tend to go out in little pockets. They will draft each other and use each other to gain speed, to slipstream, to increase their straight line velocity and put in faster laps than they can manage by themselves. So the name of the game is getting close but not too close, drafting, working together, and no touching, because the 0x will invalidate both of your laps and you have to go around again, and you've only got 10 minutes exactly. As soon as we hit 0, you blink back to the pits.
on the dot. And we will be seeing, lap times. They may have a chance about at maybe 3, maybe 4 laps tonight to be able to set a time. We should see times right around in the 147s, the 148s. It's a little bit of a longer lap for this car, but it's as long as that lap feels, and there are long stretches of full throttle here, it's always kind of moving, ebbing and flowing. So it's a really fun lap, and we should see some good times out of these guys in that range. And it'll be 10 minutes, like you said. After this, we'll have that first 15-minute heat race. That'll set the final order for the 25-minute feature race, which will wrap up the evening. So as these guys come out and start warming up their tires, they're going to start jockeying for position and trying to find their drafting partners. There's a lot of drafting opportunities here. You see Shane Goins, he's kind of on an island on his own up there. That'll be good for setting a clean lap, but it may not be good for setting the best time. I think you'll see, like we have in other weeks, where maybe the second or third car in the line, like we're seeing right here, where Matthew Mascari is sitting, that might be the best spot for setting a qualifying lap. See, he's put a good 4 or 5 car length ahead of him. That's enough to get that draft, get that toe, but 1X right there on the exit, that's not going to help him on this lap.
Right, it's the end of that story. But yes, it's interesting that Shane Goins is so far ahead of everyone. He's completely alone. If I were him, I would drop back. I know they would tow off of me, but then I would receive the tow later on in the session. So Brian McGrath, and that's Jonathan De Keisha, Mr. Canada. He has pace, and he's got a good drafting partner as well. He's behind a man in the top 6 in the championship, so that's a good seat to have. Elliot Burton's leading the next little train ahead of Daniel Varron. We know he's quick as well, and Scott Ray tagging onto the back as well, taking advantage of them punching a hole in the air. So Shane Goins will set the pace, and then we'll see how much faster the guys in the draft can go. We've got Tyler Kern and Marshall Scurry, pair of draft punk boys, tagging up.
I love that livery that Tyler throws, the old school, every rug that every little boy had in their room, playing card, Hot Wheels on top. Such a good livery.
Young lad DR929 agrees with us. I'd drop back behind the pack of 3. Yeah, I would do the same thing. But we'll see. We've still got time left, and we'll start having times on the board. Here we go. Shane Goins will set it for us first. If I show the leaderboard, that is. There we go. First one across, immediately beaten by 1.4 seconds. So you see the difference it makes. 47.7 for Jonathan De Keisha, the fastest man so far. We were talking about him being in a sweet spot. This little trio looking quick. Further back, Tyler Kern was able to use Jason Chen's toe, putting that to good use. Jason Chen, Angel Vanilla Soto, Tom Smith, Shane Goins down in 9th now. Again, refusing to drop back. He just wants to punch his way around and see what happens. We've even got Craig Carroll up into 11th, series admin. Chris Chitterling pops it up into 2nd, also completely by himself. I'm sure he would love a drafting partner.
Using every bit of that track on that exit there. I don't think that is a 1X. It's really close. There's a couple spots where you see kind of like a grass netting on the exit. You'll see it right there. There's almost like a netting on the ground. It actually has a ton of grip, and it's really tempting to use. But man, you go 1 millimeter off, and that's a 1X, and that's your whole lap gone. But speaking of one good lap, Jonathan De Keisha up front, 147.7. That's a pretty good time. I was looking at Garage 61 times earlier today, and that's some of the fastest that we're going to see. So 147 is a really good shot. So he's in a good spot up there.
Yeah, well, speaking of 1Xs, Elliot Burton did not set a lap last time, which leads me to believe he did get a 1X. He dipped a tyre somewhere. We'll see if this is his first valid lap of the session. He's being towed by Daniel Varron, who's currently also without... Oh no, he's in P6 there on the side. Let's see if he improves, and we'll see if Elliot puts in a time with some warmer tyres. There it is, up into P4. The overall fastest lap is coming down. It's Matthew Mascari now with a 47.3 in the middle of this train, this hot little trio going nice and fast. It's Marshall Mascari now, who's using Jason Chen's draft to improve his time. He's won into the 147.6s. Still 3/10 behind Matthew Mascari.
That's because Matthew Mascari dropped a 147.3, which was 4/10 faster than what DeKaiser had set as the original benchmark. And then Marshall passed it, but Matthew, really good time out of him. We might see a 146 maybe as these tires warm up.
Bit of negotiating here. Everyone wants to be at the back. No one really wants to lead the snake. So you have some sort of awkward moments where people are like, after you. No, after you. No, I insist. And so Michael Oulton looked like he wanted to join the train with Elliot Burton, but then Elliot backed off, and now he's backing off again. So he's letting these pass. Jason Chen has also peeled off to the back of this train. It's almost like an honor system where if someone heads the train for a while, you let them peel off and then go to the back, and then they get a turn. It's almost like everybody gets one go at the back of the train, so everyone gets a really quick lap.
That's absolutely what you hope for in an open qualifying session. And then secondly, you also hope that, say you're behind a guy and you see that they definitely get a 1X. You kind of want to either say, hey, if you give me the tow, get out of the way, or maybe help me on, but don't hold me up. So I think we're seeing, some pretty clean racing here. Not a lot of argy-bargy. Somebody, Gridline CM Rob, says he should have joined tonight. He had some good AI runs here last week. Absolutely. Broken Wing is open to all. If you've been practicing on AI, jump in a league race. We will help you get better. We give advice all the way from 7K drivers like we see with Kyle Caesar, all the way to people that are just getting started on iRacing. So we'd be glad to have you. Come join the grid.
Just under 2 minutes to go now in qualifying. So remember, we do blip, and we all get reset as soon as 10 minutes is up. So the drivers who are starting their lap about now will just be able to finish this lap. So Takaisha will be able to finish this lap. He's very wide coming out of Cascades turn 3. I don't think it was a 1X. It doesn't appear to be because he's still pushing it and he knows he won't have another lap. Craig Reeves goes into P6. Very tight at the top. Less or just about a tenth between every position. Don't hit those tires. They do not move. It's not like the Daytona bus stop where they kind of move. These ones are rock solid. It's like there's a concrete, like a pole baked into some concrete in the ground.
I really like the layout that we're running tonight. Taking that Britain's chicane out really keeps the flow of this track alive, and it's a really good feel. And like I said, even on the long straights, the long full throttle sections, you're having to think, you're having to get ready because there's so many dips and valleys and crests that you have to be prepared for. Right here, this one is such an easy one to go wide, and just as I was saying it, I don't think that's commentator curse. He did it before I said it. I'm just going with that. Sticking to it.
Did an interesting shift as well. I wanted to look at these two because this is a prime example of open qualifying going wrong. This is getting too close and sort of tripping over each other and costing each other time. It won't matter really in the end, as they won't get this lap in. Jason Chen goes up to P3 with Elliot Burton. So these two tandeming nicely.
Just in time. That's some great times for both those guys. They were sitting in the bottom half of the top 10. That'll be really nice for them, both sitting in the top 5.
Here we go. We'll look at the finished cameras. A few cars going across the line. That's Christopher Chitterling improving up to 5th. And we'll see if anyone else. Todd Buellmore bailing out, going into the pits. And that is that. So Dylan has some admin duties to attend to. He'll be giving the pre-race briefing to the drivers on the grid, and we get to look at the starting grid. It's Matthew Mascari who takes pole with a 147.3. Then it's Jonathan DeKaiser, just over a tenth behind, drafting together to lock out the front row. Jason Chen in 3rd with a late effort, along with Elliot Burton. Chris Chitterling, a championship leader, there in 5th. That's a good start for him. Tyler Kern doing well to get there in 6th. He was tagging along with Marshall Scari. Craig Reese in the top 10. Michael Oulton, 9th. Daniel Varron, 10th. Brian McGrath, one of our championship protagonists, there in 11th, and Joshua Grosso in 12th. Next page of the grid, Angel Soto, 13th, Scott Ray, Shane Goins in 15th, Tom Smith, 16th, Craig Carroll, Joseph Cruz, Noah Ricketts, Benjamin Munch there in 20th, Todd Buellmore 21st, Alex Beal, and then our penalty boys, Kyle Caesar, 23rd, Isaac Garsner, 24th, and Trey Miastak, who doesn't qualify. I'm excited to see those three carving their way through the field. Justin back, and then Jonathan Gluck. So the drivers will be forming up now and getting on the grid. Before we begin, a quick word from our excellent sponsors here at the league. SimMotion, our title sponsor, they're giving away $500 of gift cards this season. They'll be giving it to drivers randomly in a lottery draw who have competed in 3 or more events in any of our series. If it's the ARCA, the Endurance, the Falcon, GT3, you name it. Brandon Burns Overlay helps with our GT3 broadcast. Speed Reels is me and the broadcasting and professional video editing services. Javecki Insurance RDocs takes care of our LMP3 prototype setups. You can get a free one if you join the Falcon series, and then Get Good Racing School. Alright, back onto the grid. Here we go. We've got some drivers. We've got 27 of us ready to go. I will move out some of the graphics for you, and we can have a nice clear view. This will be our heat race, 15 minutes. 1 fast repair, no safety car, and a lot of fun.
And I'm back.
And Dylan's back, just in time. Excellent timing. So, we had a comment that we saw earlier on in the chat. Who do you think is going to win this one, Dylan?
Oh man, you know who I would like to see win, and this isn't just because he's a buddy and he helped me get better in the league. But Elliott has had such rough luck, and he is so good in this car. This track might lend itself to, if Elliott can get through the first couple laps, I think he has a chance to threaten Matthew Mascari. Matthew Mascari is going to be fast, especially in pole, but I don't think pole's the best spot to be. So my money's on Elliott.
All right. Round 8, we're going. Heat race begins as Matthew Mascari gets a strong start along with the Jonathan De Kaiser. Jason 10 holds on to 3rd ahead of Elliott Burton. Tearing into turn 1, they're side by side with 2 wide, 3 wide. Pretty sensible through there. No incidents, no smoke, no off tracks, not even much grass picking up. Flying down into Cascades now, side by side. Someone up on the curve there. I think that's Craig Carroll. Matthew Mascari leads them away. Ooh, wiggle, wiggle. That looks like maybe Daniel Varron getting a little wobble on the exit there. Again, cleanly through. Now they charge through Island Bend into Shell Oil's corner. That banked, sweeping right-hander. It's almost like a NASCAR style. Tuck into that inside groove. It's Tyler Kern making a move on Craig Reese. Now they fly down the back straight. No chicane to worry about. They can just keep their foot planted for a good 10 plus seconds. They'll come up over the hill. You can see the Kaisha tucking in behind Matthew Mascari. He might have his eyes on a move coming in through the chicane, which they're going through now. Mascari stays ahead. There's single file through here. Again, those tyre bundles are so scary. We see Isaac Gardner and Kyle Caesar making spots up at the back. Kyle Caesar up into 19th. Isaac Gardner 21st. Trey Mistake still in 24th. So they're starting to make gains. We expect to see them get to the front end of the field in 15 minutes and then see what they can do in the feature. But mostly single file through this lap. I think the narrow track, one touch of the grass can really put you in a very, very close proximity wall. And we are completing the very first lap. It's Matthew Mascari who leads.
It is a very narrow track. We're still seeing on the screen some side-by-side racing in every corner. That whole first lap, there was side-by-side in every single corner, and these guys were able to get through it. So really impressive stuff from, and man, I was watching that shot that you got of Michelle O's corner, that hairpin. It's so fast. It's probably the fastest hairpin, I think, on the series right now so far that I've seen. It keeps such high speeds. So it's really impressive stuff to see these guys. Wow, you see Tyler Kern going really wide there, getting out in the grass. He's able to hold the grip, taking his time getting back on the track. You like to see that. And Marshall Scary is going to take advantage of that and get ahead of Tyler. But Tyler's able to tuck in one last spot, not too bad.
Doing our Caesar watch already, he's up to 16th, so 3 spots gained since we last mentioned him, just about half a lap ago. He's already dispatched Tom Smith, and now he's looking at the back of Scott Ray. Joshua Grosso not far ahead either. looking back at the leaders, still single file. Elliot Burton really nicely tucked in behind Jason Chen, so no one really looking for the inside. Oh, I say that. Angel Bonilla Soto makes a move down the inside of 72. Oh, they hit, they touch, they're around. Angel loses control into the wall, so that's him, and I believe, not sure who else was involved in that incident. We go back and look at it quickly. It's the 72.
72.
It's Daniel Varren. He continues
good
on.
Move by Angel, and then it looks like Daniel tried to carry a little bit too much speed in that second apex of the chicane there, and just carried out the Angel and spun both of them. Angel is he's had really tough luck. He's had some speed, he's had some pace. Wow.
More chaos.
That's a backwards car.
Unfolding off Benjamin Munch. That is going backwards. We can have a quick look at that if I do the replay button correctly. So that's Daniel Varren coming back on track. And then Benjamin Munch spinning, collecting it. It's hard to tell if that car looks damaged or not. But I believe
I think it was damaged when it was painted. They're both going to the pits, so that's a damaged car for sure. Front pack still sticking together in top 4. Nice nose to stern there. A little bit of hecticness in the back of the pack there.
Got, I believe, Elliot Burton off track as well. What happened to him? Where is he?
It looks like there's something going on, because there's a lot of guys that went off that track there.
I wonder if we can see. It's just skipping back. So it's exit of turn 1. Whoa! Yeah. Comes back and Reese explodes as they touch. Marshall Scurry just escapes.
He's that in the 152 car. Craig Reese. As we get caught up with that, with Elliott kind of dipping a tire in the grass there. That's rough stuff. But there's another chance here.
It's not over. You are right. Elliot Burton well and truly cursed by you, Dylan, I'm afraid. that was a mega curse.
I think at this point, Elliott's luck speaks for itself. I mean,
that ain't me, man. All right, here looking at the kiss cam. Matthew Mascari was our pole sitter. He's been dethroned by Jonathan DeKaisha. And he was touching the back. It's such a fast sweeping right-hander, and understeer is terrifying because you know you're going to go into the grass and hit a wall. Under braking, he gains right back up, and we have a top 5 here, all very close together, nose to tail, as they come over the start-finish. 5 minutes in, we're a third of the way through. Kaisha blinking, returning at the front of the field. Doing a Kyle Caesar watch. He's up into P9 already. Isaac Gardner is in 11th, and Trey Mistak right behind him, pushing him along. So the ones who didn't qualify... A little bit of
crunched up front ends for both of them there, so it's, who wants to be the lead car? Neither of them are going to be punching a clean hole in the air.
Indeed, I've got Jonathan DeKaisha crashed. Oh, that was him blinking. Never mind. Don't panic. False alarm. Still at the lead. So yeah, Matthew Mascari has the best seat in the house at the back of this battle.
Right now, Marshall's not too mad at his seat because it was a top 4 line, and these guys were kind of trading a couple blows up in the top 4. So Marshall's sitting there right on the back of the pack. You see just up ahead of him, Chris Chitterling's looking at a move at Jason Chen. They're going to be side by side going into the chicane. We saw an issue earlier happen there. Who has the inside line here, and is that going to be able to hold it on the second apex?
Oh,
Chris is able to get the room, but he runs off the grass there, and he's going to have a hard time collecting that.
Wow.
Still collecting it, and is able to keep it together. That's going to cost Jason a lot of time, Marshall as well. Marshall's going to look at the inside line coming up. As we come down this crest into the right-hander, not a big braking zone, so Chris is able to hold that speed around the outside and keep the position. Pretty impressive stuff from him keeping it together, but man, that's a lot of time lost in this front 2 pack right here with Jonathan DeKaisha and Matthew Mascari.
Indeed, the 2 front runners might see that happening behind them and decide to work together and just increase that gap if they can. But yeah, it almost cost Chris Chitterling 2 spots looking for that inside move. Able to defend from Marshall Scurry. Ooh, DeKaisha very, very wide, kicking up all kinds of grass. Ooh. Keeps hold of the leads, red and white at the front. Jason Chen there in 3rd, making his way up from 12th place in the championship standings. This will do well for his championship. He could jump into the top 6 at this rate. Chris Chitterling is our championship leader. They're in 4th place. I'm sure he won't be too mad that he's only in 4th because his closest championship rival is still quite far back in P11, still being pushed by Trey, but the two of them have a 3.7 second gap before they get to P10, which is Scott Ray up there by himself. Got a Noah Ricketts flagged as a crash. Is it a real crash or is it a blink?
Kind of took a little bit of grass on the inside there and then had to slow down for some reason.
I see, being very,
maybe he missed a
very
shift?
cautious and then returning
Maybe
at the
at
worst
a-
possible moment.
That might have been a situation where he might have had a little technology issue and a freeze up, and he just said, "Hey, I'm just gonna go slow. You can go around me. I can't see."
So
Looks
Carl
like he's
Caesar-
traveling on.
We see Carl Caesar was using that little kerfuffle to get past Brian McGrath. And Joshua Grosso behind him is now looking at Brian McGrath as well, tucking him behind. He thinks better of it. So that's Caesar up to 7th with 3 seconds until he gets to Michael Othon. We have a change for the lead. Now the inside, Matthew Mascari. The over-under from Dekaisha. They're going to go side by side across the line. Jason Chen and Chris Chitterling are right back in it thanks to this scrapping. Who's bravest?
Dekaisha's going to have the better angle here, but he holds back. A little bit of overlap, but that's pretty smart racing. That's going to cost Dekaisha on the exit there.
Oh.
You're going to want to use all the track over that curb. And you can see Jason Chen is kind of getting held up by that. But I think that's going to kind of settle down going into this long, full throttle stretch all the way down Lakeside into Island Bend. It's just about full throttle into Shell's Corner. Heavy braking zone, but it's a cambered hairpin.
Hit the left. You saw Mascari went very defensive there. It's such a narrow exit. It's hard to make that move. You really have to get it done before you just get back on the power. So here we go. He's made his intentions known. We'll see if he throws one at the inside. He's got the overspeed. I hear Jason Chen right behind me as well. Well, there is a bit of a gap. Backs off.
This Britain's chicane is so tight. You hit that rubber tire and it can end your race so easily. But you want to get as close as you possibly can. That can be the difference of half a second to, making a pass and getting the win. But you got to run the risk, getting right up against those rubber tires.
Look at this, we're back to a top 5 scrap. You could argue it's top 6. Michael Othon joins the back of this train. He's just within touching distance. And yeah, if these front groups start scrapping properly, Dekaisha looking for a move on the inside again. It's his favorite place. Feels good around there.
He gets it done right there. That's a nice clean pass. He'll put it in there and get the overlap he needed. And he's going to have the advantageous spot. We'll see if another move gets thrown by Matthew here. We saw it earlier. Jonathan got a compromise exit. He was almost threatened by 3rd place. You see that little bit of grip of grass out there. Oh, inside, outside look here, which will be the inside. And Matthew throws it right back. He is back into the lead. And that's a quick swap of positions for the front spot in this race. And I love seeing this. Man, Jonathan and Matthew are right on par with one another. And you got Jason Chitterling and Marshall Scari and Michael Othon waiting for the scraps.
Oh, so where I thought Mascari was taking the inside line, he was actually just letting the car swoop wide as a sort of deterrent, like don't even think about it, before he cuts back into the racing line in the traditional braking zone. Chitterling moves ahead of Jason Chen, technically by a nose. They'll be side by side. Jason decides to tuck in as we head through Hislops. It might be named after a motorcyclist, which makes me think of people riding motorbikes around here, which seems insane.
I think people riding motorbikes in general is pretty insane.
That's fair.
Call me a square.
Is Mr. Caesar on the back of this? So we're going to have a 7-way fight for the lead. He's trimmed down the gap. It was 3.7, or about 3 seconds. He's got it down to 7/10 now. We'll just see. I want to see if you can visibly see the speed difference when we get to somewhere like a braking zone. Is this where he gains all his time?
Thank you for the sub. Bad Frag Gaming, we appreciate you. And yeah, you're right, Mark. Steve Hislop, the legendary Scottish motorcycle superbike champion. chicane located before Knickerbrook is renamed in his honor following his death in a helicopter crash back in 2003.
Oh my. Yeah, well, R.I.P. And Carl Caesar is in this fight. He just set the fastest lap of the race at 47.2, the only man in the 47s, and that includes Isaac Gardner and Trey Mistak, who are even working together. Whoa, gets a little bit balked. Doesn't seem to matter. We've seen Carl Caesar get in issues before, and he just seems to go fast anyway. So that might be him dispatching Michael Oulton and on his way to the top 6. Marshall Scari will see him on his relative or in his mirror. Meanwhile, Chitterling and De Kuyser are now side by side. Matthew Mascari rubbing his hands together. He needs P2 to start squabbling so he can get a little bit of breathing room. We've only got a minute and a half left, so this could end up being the white flag.
Going to be white flag racing here, probably. I don't know. Yeah, I think they crossed before, so we should have maybe one more lap, but these guys are racing like it already is white flags.
Getting it held up. Jason Chen had to hit the brakes there to stop himself going into the back of Chitterling, the 1-2-3. He's pulling out to the side. He's having a look. Got a camera for that. Here we go, side by side through Druids. Who's bravest? Chitterling's through.
That's a good battle right there. Left just enough room by Chitterling to give De Kuyser the room on the exit. And almost enough room to dive, but De Kuyser had to be careful that because Jason Chen was right there to attack. So he couldn't pull out to the right to attack Chitterling. This is definitely going to be white flag right here.
Yes.
So it's all on the marbles, and this is where you're going to start the next race. At this point, you want to race for position, but also you don't want to lose it.
Oh no!
In this top 5,
Jason
and that's
Chen's
just
off.
what happens, Jason Chen.
Jason Chen went off the track. Let's see what happened there. He went up the inside of Jonathan De Kuyser, sorry, went a bit wide, and then did he get loose? Came back.
Yeah, he just lost it in the grass and got
Big
carried
crash.
right across the nose of De Kuyser there.
What a shame. He was running so well. Again, I said how often he was caught up in incidents that had harmed his championship despite his pace. That puts Chitterling into second place, Marshall Scari into third, Carl Caesar's into fourth, with eyes on third, and Jonathan De Kuyser's had the worst last 2 laps from leading. He's now back into 6th. As now
I think
the
if you're Jonathan De
leaders,
Kuyser, you're not too mad about that, but yeah, they're side by side going into the chicane. Mascari thinks better of it. Chitterling is going to take the lead there. Kyle's able to get to the inside of Marshall Scari there, but Marshall's able to keep side by side. Still a little bit of overlaps. That compromises the apex. They're still side by side. And it looks like Marshall is probably going to try to tuck in up ahead of Michael Oulton. Michael Othon's having a great race, sitting in the top 5. He's really got good pace here.
yeah, strongly top 5. He's been on the tail end of the snake the whole race. Well, Chitterling goes very defensive onto the inside. He's not giving him a single lane. Forces Mascari around the outside. Clips the curb. Bobbles himself. He'll lose a bit of pace. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who's it going to be? Chitterling.
It's going to be Chitterling. Wow, that was that's as narrow as you can take that corner to be defensive on that. See these cars cross the line. A little bit of a move there, side by side, with Isaac Gardner and Trey Mistak, but yeah,
wow.
Great racing. Looked like we had some incidents. Looked like the grass monster got a hold of a lot of cars in that first race with lap 2, lap 3. People pushing a little harder, thinking their tires were warm, and we saw a lot of guys carry out onto the grass, and it is slippery grass at this track. There's a couple spots. It's deceiving. I mentioned it earlier. There's like areas that look like it has like a little bit of netting underneath the grass. Get a ton of grip there. Everywhere else, it may as well be ice.
Well, it's Chris Chitterling, your heat winner, followed home by Matthew Mascari. 1/10 the gap in the end. Carl Caesar made it up to third from the back of the grid. Marshall Scari in fourth, Michael Oulton fifth, Jonathan De Kuyser in P6. Jonathan Grosso does a bit of damage control for his championship. Brian McGrath in 8th. Isaac Gardner and Trey Mistak went to 9th and 10th respectively, also starting from the back of the grid. So they'll be starting within the top 10 for the feature. That benefits them greatly. Scott Ray in 11th Tom Smith, 12th. Todd Buellmore finishes 13th. Elliot Burton had an incident and finished in 14th. I believe I tried to record that event or save it somehow. But, no, I didn't. Never mind. Just when I think I figured out all the buttons.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for Elliot because it looked like exactly what I said. He wasn't the only one that caught the grass on the exit there. There was about 3 or 4 other cars, but I think he was just going quickest. And then he caught the front nose of the car behind him, and it was catastrophic, but pretty good recovery. Sitting in 14th, he's got pretty good pace. In 15th, we got Daniel Barron. In 16th, we see Jason Chen. He was running up there in the top 5. That's unfortunate to see him there. Good performance out of Craig Carroll, sitting in 17th. Craig Reese in 18th. Tyler Kern in 19th with his nice, kid carpet livery. Noah Ricketts rounds out the top 20. Behind him is going to be Joseph Cruz and Alex Beal in the 808 car. Then we have Tyler Kern in 19. I already covered that. That's Benjamin Mensch in 23rd. Shane Goins in 24th. We've seen a lot of good pace out of him, so he must have had an incident early, so we'll see him carving his way back up. Justin Back is in 25th. Angel Bonilla Soto, we saw him get into it on that second apex of the chicane there. We'll see if he has better luck working his way forward through the field. And finally, we have Jonathan Glick rounding out the back in the caboose spot.
Rear gunner. So the feature, 25 minutes now we have. We'll do it all again. The results from the heat race set the grid. So Chitterling won it. He's on pole. Caesar starts in 3rd. So in his usual kind of position, the qualifying ban hasn't affected him too badly. 26 cars on the grid ready to come around the final corner, lodge, go down that valley called Deer Leap and take the green flag. This is the feature race for round 8 here at Oulton Park without Britons. I'm the only Briton here tonight.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is in the air and we're going. Mascari and Chitterling. Chitterling getting a bad launch. It's Mascari who's taken the lead already. Less than far through, we'll see how they behave into turn 1. Side by side, Mascari and Chitterling still side by side. 2 wide, all the way back through to the tail end of the field. Again, not a lot of grass or smoke. This is good news. Flying down into Cascades. Side by side, super quick. And it's Mascari who's taken the lead. Now it's Marshall and Carl Caesar who are going side by side, competing over 3rd place. Nice steady train through Island Bend, another nice quick section of the track. Trey Mistag made spots already. He's already ahead of Isaac Gardner. Side by side through this back corner. Jonathan De Keisha getting up the inside of Marshall Scari. Back we see Craig Reese and Jason Chen fighting. Scott Ray in the mix as well. Elliot Burton's recovered a few spots already, up to 11th, having started 14th. Going up over the hill, Mascari and Chitterling. It looked like they were side by side. All will be revealed here. Oh, Chitterling hangs it around the outside. Very respectful, giving each other a lane each around that immovable tyre block. Still side by side. Oh, Chitterling loose on the exit. Nose is just ahead. Flying up over the hill. Into Druids. This is a test of bravery. We'll see who arrives first out the other side.
Somebody has to remind these guys that this is lap 1 of the longer version of the race. That is such tight racing. Chitterling did not want to give a single inch there. He's going on the final 3 corners, and he's going to have the lead, but Kyle Caesar is going to be on the outside of Matthew Mascari. But he's going to have the inside here and have the run towards the first turn, and he's going to have the grip on the outside. You almost want to be outside here, and you can see Matthew's kind of tucking in there. But, man, that was some really tough and tight racing from Chris Chitterling. See, we'll see an issue with Matthew Mascari.
Oh, Mascari.
Oh, a big hit.
Mascari takes a huge shunt. Let's look back at that. It looked like they went... where were they? Just a little bit too wide on the exit of turn 1. Yes, bobbles off and then swings back across the track into poor Scott Ray. Face full of Milwaukee. And
2 weeks in a row, Scott's been caught up in something. And man, that's a symptom of how hard they were pushing in lap 1. And we saw it the last race during the heat. Lap 1 was really good. Everybody kept it really clean. And then lap 2, let's push as hard as we can. And we're seeing people catch the grass. And that's what's getting everybody off kilter. Man, that grass has claimed a lot of lives tonight, Mark.
It's a real shame. They're just pushing so hard. Well, you can go out there and not get a 1X, so it just becomes part of the racing line. But these cars, when they're loaded, they're also so light that I can see how once it starts to slide, it snaps back and then it's all out of your control. Elliot Burton's
Steve Shane Goins looking at the back of Elliot Burton here. They're heading down the hill. Nice right-hand curve there. I'm having a hard time finding what spot on the track they're at, Mark.
I see Elliot Burton, that was through Druids. This is into Lodge, the final corner of the track. Jason Chen hanging around the outside of Tom Smith, maybe a little too wide. That gives Elliot Burton a look. He's now on the back of Jason Chen, towing in a line. Digiling holds off Caesar for another lap. They are 1.7 seconds clear of third place. We're looking at the midfield scrap here. Whoa, it's Tom Smith going very, very wide. Now the challenge is to keep it in a straight line.
That's a good job. That is way more difficult than that looked from the outside of that car. Keeping it straight, keeping enough speed to join at a decent pace, and not looping it around. So good job by Tom Smith there.
Looking back from the rear of our race leader, Chris Chittling, the 1-2-3. He's got Kyle Caesar for company. Isaac Gardner, second place in the championship, are now up to P4. So they started 9th. He started 9th, I believe. Trey Mistak started 10th. Isaac up to 4th. Trey Mistak up to 6th. And nice gap that Chittling pulled there. Seemed to stream away on the exit. Very strong.
Yeah, that's all going to close down going into his laps.
I said Gardner was in 4th. He's now 3rd.
So both of our quali band drivers, they served their penalty. They did their time, and they're both looking at the top 3 right now with a chance to win. Obviously, Kyle's in a better spot to make that attack on Chris Chitterling, but Chitterling is not an easy person to pass. We saw it during the heat. He knows how to defend really well, even with a driver as accomplished as Kyle behind him. And then not far behind the top 3, we have a string of 4 cars as these guys battle it out for the top 2. You're going to have a top 5 battle, and anybody can win it, including Trey Mistak. Trey, you're going to have to change that name. It's killing me. Trey Mistak is sitting at 6. He has a chance at it if that all catches up.
See Joshua Grosso having a scrap with Jonathan DeKaisha. Very, very close, giving him just enough room to get back on the track. They fly down through Denton's, it's called, and then Cascade. These old traditional long sweeping corners.
I love that corner right there. It's just so much speed. You carry it out. It's a good training corner when you need to learn how to ride a curb, because you have to take that curb to really get the speed. And then heading down this hill into this hairpin with the amount of camber that it has, it's just so fun. It's like a roller coaster. You can fire it in there. Such good exit speed. And then without the Britain's chicane, it has so much better flow because you're going to fly down here. You have a chance to draft all the way in the Hislops chicane, which does create another passing opportunity. So I'm glad it's there. And these guys have been able to manage it pretty well so far. I've seen one incident earlier with Angel.
Whoa, you see how
Man, look
Jason
how
Chen
close.
got to that.
So
Wow.
good.
Well, we got some side-by-side happening at the back there. Who was that? Oh, I saw some side-by-siding. There we go. It's Tom Bumore versus Angel Bonilla Soto. Tom Smith with a slowdown, so maybe slicing a corner a bit too aggressively.
Good shout out to Todd. He's got one of the most identifiable liveries on here, so that always helps me out as a broadcaster. And 2, he does our posters for a lot of series as far as our winners go. So big thanks to him. His volunteer hours and his work is shows his talent very well. He's a very talented graphic designer.
So, do you see what the license plate says on the back? It says pucker up.
I always call it the kissy car because he always seems to get in kissing matches with people during the race. He's a hard racer. He's as talented of a racer as he is a graphic designer. He puts it in there and he fights his battles. and we always end up finding him during the broadcast. So good on him. Good to see him.
Nice and fast. Loves the smooch. He's in a little contest right now. Ooh, that's Alex Beal, I believe, in the Jag car. Oh, look at this little mob developing. Noah Ricketts is involved in that. They're going to have to sort this out before they get through here. It's very easy to understeer wide, as Noah Ricketts does, and he doesn't have room to come back onto the normal braking zone, so Daniel Varren gets to sweep around the outside, although it's all about his exit. Oh, he gets a little bit blocked by the quarter panel. And
Tyler Kern's going to have a look here.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a good run on the car ahead of him. So all that fighting is going to help him going up into the chicane, up this hill, and then back down. You see the 72 car. He's going to be able to fight around the outside of this first apex, and then he's going to have the inside line for the second one.
Running wide.
Somebody carries it out deep. Oh, they were able to keep it from touching. That's great racing from the 72 car of Daniel Varren. You love to see that. And Tyler Kern is the one that ends up in the front of that little pack. So he was third or fourth in that little group. They're still together. This is awesome racing. Running diamond formation into the final few corners. Daniel Varren gets shuffled back. He's behind Joseph Cruz, who inserts himself into this battle. He's right behind Tyler. As we see Todd Buellmore go on the inside line here. That gets him around. Who is that?
That was Alex Beal.
Alex Beal with his car that looks damaged when it's totally
always. Born damaged.
It was a cursed livery. I like to bully Alex, and I hope you keep it forever. But I will bully you forever for it.
Running up over Trey Mistak in the number 4. Starts at the back of the grid, has made his way up to P6. He's now got Joshua Grosso in the 23 ahead of him. Then Jonathan DeKaisha. And yeah, these 4 are slightly separated from the top 3. And it's worth mentioning Isaac Gardner is slowly reeling in the top 2. The gap was almost 2 seconds at one point. Now it's down to 0.8. And he's probably hoping that these 2 are going to start tripping over each other. There's also traffic in the form of Matthew Mascari up ahead. Hopefully he moves out of the way, doesn't get involved in this. But we're looking at a 3-way fight with our 3 fastest guys and the top 2 in the championship. Christopher Chitterling leads the championship. Isaac Gardner in 2nd place. So this is getting spicy.
Yeah, Isaac is definitely in that tow range, so he will be on the back of the front 2 cars. Really good work from Chitterling up front. He's been able to hold on that spot. We've seen Kyle willing to throw a move pretty early and get out to the front. We saw Jonathan DeKaisha get around Josh Grosso earlier. But then he lost it here running through the grass. He loses a couple spots from that, so he was really running on the back of that top 3 group, but Josh is able to hold on to it.
Whoa, cashing in the old cracks.
Monkey see, monkey do. And that's coming from the back marker. He was the first one to go through grass. Even Chris Chitterling followed him through.
Will they do it
and
again?
Man, they are just pushing every limit there is on this track. These guys are fighting for every inch, and they are pushing. They're running lap times that were equivalent of the quali times every lap. We're seeing 147.1s. We saw 147.2 or 147.3 set pole for the heat race. So these guys are flying.
Very true, helping each other. The quickest guys on the track all getting a tow, except Christopher Chitterling, although he is getting a push. Oh, and here we go. Caesar's having a look. He's technically ahead. Outbrakes him into Hislop chicane.
That's a huge run by Kyle there, and he utilized that draft as perfect as he possibly could. And not only did he get past, he got past with about 2 car lengths to spare. We've seen other passes into that chicane, and there's been an opportunity to fight it back on the second apex of the chicane. Kyle just nailed it. It just flew on by Chris. Is this Chitterling, is he looking at his championship likelihood and saying, hey, right now I'm okay. I don't need to race Kyle. I need to make sure I stay in front of Isaac.
Right, he's got bigger fish to fry. And then with his points cushion of around 500 points, even if Gardner gets around him, it would only be a sort of 80 or 90 point swing. So yeah, if I'm Christopher Chitterling, I'm not going to fight any of these positions too hard, especially given you've got a 5-second gap to the guy in 4th, Joshua Grosso. They're still hovering in the 147s. These top 3, the only ones really punching into the 47s. 47.5 for Carl Caesar, so super rapid, even with an overtake. Chris Chitterling obviously unsettled during that moment of 48 flat, and then Isaac Gardner with a 47.6. So I think Isaac will now be slightly in the slipstream, benefiting ever so slightly. Chris Chitterling is most certainly hanging on though. He's not giving up.
Well, Isaac has been the fastest car on the track for about 3 laps straight, and he was barely faster than Kyle Caesar there. So he's going to keep pushing, and I've had a few chances to run with Chris Chitterling. Not quite that quick to always be around him. You've had more experiences with him than I do, and I think you know full well, championship battle or not, he's going to battle for position. The guy loves racing. He likes to win, and he likes to be in a position ahead of the car that he's behind. So I think we'll see a move. If he has a chance at Kyle, he's going to make that move. If he has a chance to defend against Isaac, he's going to make that defense.
Watching Angel Minnesota, whoa, having more drama at the Hislop chicane. Once again, getting pushed out wide. I wonder if that'll count as an incident. He has the inside line here. And then, oh, Shane Goins runs wide. A little bit of contact. They're all still on the track, though. Continuing on.
Yeah,
Brian
pretty good
McCrone.
recovery drive from Angel up to 13th. He started in the back of the pack, and it's that same sequence of corners through that chicane that he had a little bit of an incident. So
I got bad news though. Oh, tagged by Craig Reese. He spins.
I thought for sure he was going to be able to go 14th to 1st at this point, but my guy Elliott, he's just not having a lot of luck in the series so far. We'll see the day that Draft Punk livery takes the checkered flag in first place, though. I have a feeling.
Carl Caesar just eking a gap away from Christopher Chitterling in 2nd place. Traffic not getting in the way. That was Tom Smith, who used to run the same livery as Carl Caesar, which made me think they were teammates. Isaac Gardner's fallen off slightly. Matthew Mascari is behind him, but he is a lap down. The man in 4th place for realsies is here, Joshua Grosso. Still has Trey Mistak towing behind him. Trey doesn't seem to have much intention of passing him. He's more than content to push him along. Michael
I think Trey has been playing a very smart game in the last 2 races combined. He realizes there's a big gap ahead of him, or ahead of the car that's in front of him, and he says, hey, it is better if I push you up ahead. Now, I may make a little bit of a push for this series for more people to realize that, like, when there's a gap, these cars work best in a chain. Even if you have 2 cars that are working really well together, if you have 3 cars behind them that are working as good, like equally, those 3 cars are going to be faster than the 2. These cars are so dependent on draft, especially on a track like this. So learning that patience, it's part of learning a series. It's part of growing pains for what we're doing here. But man, we've had some awesome racing, Mark.
Yeah, I
this
think
race, every race, every long, even the ones that we've had some issues while you were away, there was still good racing in it. These cars just make a good environment for awesome racing to watch.
Absolutely, I think the lessons have been learned the hard way, let's say. But I think it's evidence tonight that Racecraft, I feel, has been better at the front and in the midfield. We've had a slightly smaller grid, so we're able to actually look at some of the midfield battles. And yes, it seems like the advice to give a lane, give room for error, and just give a little bit of breathing space is being heeded finally. And I think that was the missing piece. There we go. Christopher Chitterling deciding to bump rather than run.
Interesting. I feel like Chris might have been listening to the broadcast and said, I'm not going to do that, Dylan. I feel like all my takes have been contradicted. I'm going to have to see if there's some collusion here.
Me? Send it?
How can I be wrong?
Right.
Seems impossible.
So there's top 4. It's felt like a message to Kyle that Chitterling is still there and willing to pounce if the opportunity becomes available. There's 8 minutes left. Meanwhile at the back, this train still carries on. Joshua Grosso still leads Trey Mistak. Jonathan De Keisha has been kind of in no man's land, was shuffled back at the beginning. Brian McGrath follows him in P8. Jason Chen and Craig Reese are going at it into the final corner. This is into Lodge. Reese sends it up the inside. Good space given between the two. Side by side over the front straight. See who comes out ahead. Both lines work. The inside, you can throw it in. The outside has the momentum on the exit. Let's see who plays this best. Jason Chen will probably bank an off track. Yep. Keeps it straight. Keeps the position. Further back, Marshall Scari in 11th. Elliot Burton we saw have a spin earlier. They're scrapping away ahead of Shane Goins, who's watching on in the background. Elliot with a little bit of damage, but doesn't seem to be affecting his pace too much. And then got Craig Carroll ahead of this mob. Got Alex Beal, Joseph Cruz, Todd Buellmore, Daniel Varron making a move up the inside of Tyler Kern, who runs a little bit wide. That's ahead of Alex Beal, who technically gets past. Nose is ahead. They'll go side by side through the Island Bend, the fast corner. Alex Beal stays ahead.
Good move there by Alex. Able to understand what was going to happen there with Tyler having a compromised exit there. I mean, there's grip out there, but he just went a little bit wide. And he was able to kind of navigate that. I've seen Trey Mistak actually make a move on Josh Grosso. We've seen him push for a while. We know Josh is really an accomplished driver in the NASCAR series, so he may be a good partner to have behind you to give you a push. And speaking of pushing, you have Kyle Caesar running all the way out on the grass with Chris Chitterling on the inside. These guys are going at it. We're just over 5 minutes left, so maybe 3 laps to go. And Kyle's able to get a good lead, and Chris is pushing all the way. Look at him control the car. He's got Isaac right on the back of him, so any move he makes on Kyle is going to cost him. He needs to make sure it happens because Isaac is ready to pounce there.
It's an absolute full commitment from Gardner. You see how they use the crest to get the rear out, so they rotate before they hit the power, and he was opposite lock in that super quick corner. Kyle Caesar's going to get away with it, as he often does.
Slightly defensive line there from Chris. He went in a little bit narrow. That carried him out, but it's not really a passing zone. Like I said earlier, that hairpin is not really a hairpin. It's like an oval track. It's so fast. You can't really pass there. It's really about getting the run here, like we're seeing from Isaac. Isaac is willing to stay in behind Chris. Isaac may have his eyes on the lead and the win, saying, hey, I want you guys to fight up in front of me, Chitterling and Caesar. Y'all duke it out. Give me an opportunity to get around both of you.
See what Chitterling does. If he can repeat what he did the last lap, because I didn't quite see how he set the move up, but he must have had a monster exit through Druids here and then had a chance to throw it at the inside, or maybe even Kyle Caesar got some understeer and ran a bit wide and opened the door. It seems a lot more even this time around. Chitterling keeps the gap. That's 3/10. He'll have a bit more draft. So with a strong exit, he could be looking at the rear end. But it's pretty dead even as they cross the line. We'll see the gaps from above. Top 3 evenly spread. 3 minutes.
Look at that gap between third and fourth. 7.1 seconds. These guys are pushing to the limit.
Absolutely. We do have a few other drivers in the 47s now. It's spread out to the top 7. So either fuel burning off or drivers just finally clicking with the track. But yeah, those top 3 have escaped. Even the likes of Joshua Grosso and Trey Mistak haven't been able to do much. Their last lap's 47.2s. Looking back, Jason Chen has staved off Craig Reese for now. Elliot Burton has recovered back past Marshall Scari for P11. And then the little Buellmore Kern Beal train is still going strong. It's Craig Carroll and Chick Hicks side by side through turn 3. Joseph Cruz.
Yeah, Joseph Cruz is able to get by Craig there. Not a normal overtake spot, but a pretty impressive move there. You see Craig kind of dipping his right tires in the grass there. Just getting everything he can, just trying to maybe even just see the track ahead of him. Going around the outside of Shell Old Corner. And he's able to kind of hold it there. That is such an impressive move from Craig.
Good stuff.
He's going to be stuck on the outside going down this straight. They're going to be side by side all the way into that chicane. Be interesting. Speaking of side by side, Chris Chittling is on the outside of Kyle Caesar. A peak of 3 wide there from Isaac. Chris is going to try to hold the momentum on the outside. He's not going to have the run. He has a little bit of overlap here. Going into the first corner, we've seen this before where the outside line is preferable.
That's
Kyle's
the white
gonna be
flag.
kind of pinched down. Kyle really sends it in there, but he's not going to have the exit. Chris is putting everything in it. Holds it together.
He's got to send
They're
it.
still side by side in turn 2.
Oof. Wow. White flag. Last lap. Hold on, Kyle Caesar. They're cashing in off tracks left and right. I'd be amazed if they're not near the limit
Yes.
already. 17 to play with. And they can't let him get away. Isaac Gardner's probably more interested in claiming second than the win.
The exit out of this corner is going to be everything going into that chicane. I think that's going to be the biggest passing opportunity for the rest of this lap. So is Chris going to be able to get a run here? It looks like Isaac's a little far off. It's going to take a hellacious move on the brakes.
Sounded like he scrubbed on the exit. He had a lot of lock on when he was on the
He
gas.
does have a good run here, though, Chitterling. You see a defensive posture from Kyle. Chitterling's not able to get that overlap. Is he going to be able to get the run out of the chicane? Kyle's able to nail that apex. And they are still nose to stern going into these final fast-flowing corners of Water Tower down into Druids, and Lodge Corner might be the opportunity that Chris has. Kyle's going to defend all the way to the inside on these. Inside line is going to be everything. We might even see a tire dipped in the grass by Chris here.
Oh, which side does he pick? He's picked the inside. Chris has let him have it. It's going to have to be very, very, very brave. Kyle looking deep, but parks it on the apex.
A little later on the brakes.
Is Isaac Gardner going to get it? We'll do our finish line camera. It's
finish 1, 2, 3. What a race for a win there. What a show.
Oof. Good stuff. Trey Mistak and Joshua Grosso finish 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
It's Michael Offon, Jonathan DeKaisha, Jason Chen, Brian McGrath coming across in P9. Then we wait for Craig Reese at the back of this train. That was Jason Chen, Brian McGrath. Apologies. Whoops. Looking back through. Where's my finish cam? There we go. Oh, Elliot Burton quits. Sorry, I just want to look at the finish. There we go. Wow. Okay. Super exciting stuff. The usual suspects up at the top.
So good up in front. And whatever happens throughout the race, you know, we have incidents. These guys get into each other. I mentioned it in the pre-race briefing with the drivers to say, hey, look, these cars get loose. They get wide. Give each other space. You're going to have a chance to race each other back. And we saw that for the win there. Chitterling had an opportunity to make a run at Kyle. We thought Kyle was going to run away when he got the lead. He didn't. I mean, it took every bit of defensive talent that Kyle had to win that race. And Chitterling gave him everything he had, and Isaac was ready to pounce. That is such good racing.
Good stuff. Very exciting. You can ban him from qualifying, but he'll still come up and cause damage in the feature race. Brilliant stuff. Well, you can see why these guys are our championship protagonists. At the front, door to door, corner after corner, absolutely nothing left on the table. Some brilliant examples of car control. As you see Christopher Chitterling mowing the lawn on the exit of turn 1. There'll be no grass left. It'll be like a golf course after I'm finished with it. And Kyle Caesar squeaking home once again, placing his car brilliantly. Defensively, he was taking the inside. He was dictating Chitterling's line before Chitterling could. And even when he was on the defensive line through the Hislop chicane, it didn't seem to affect him on the exit. I thought that would be the moment where Chitterling could get an over-under on him or keep some momentum up Clay Hill and into Druids, but never materialized. He's got it covered.
And I think there was such good racing throughout the whole pack. And you mentioned it early. I mean, that race for the win was absolutely incredible. And that's something that really, in my opinion, only the MX-5s create those opportunities. The fact that Chris, Isaac, and Kyle are all on the grass there on the exit, pushing it to the absolute limit. I mean, that just gives everything there. And we saw that throughout the pack. We saw it in lap one. We saw these guys really kind of give each other space. And then once it got to racing time, we saw the grass was really the main antagonist for this race. The driving was really, really good.
Yeah, good. These old school circuits really punish people. These local kind of club tracks. No FIA car park runoffs. Mistakes are punished, and we saw the cream rise to the top. Well, if you want to grab anyone for it. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Cream rising to the top, we have Isaac Gardner joining us. He was the third of that little trio racing for the win, and you had probably the best view of the fight for the first spot, and you were in the best place to pounce. What were you thinking? Did you hold back on a move? What were you thinking that whole final lap going through that, Isaac?
The first 10 minutes, I had to chase them down from like a mile back, and I kind of burned up my tires. And then when I finally got there, I had nothing to play with. So I was just kind of hanging on by a little bit of draft and just had to watch and pray that they like wrecked each other or something. But yeah.
Well, we know you had a lot of incidents that you had to deal with previous races that ended up with a qualifying ban. You were able to overcome that really well today through the heat and then finally through the feature win. So your talent was on display to get up there to the front. What was it like working through the pack? Because we've seen you qualify up front and race from the front. This is maybe your first time running through the pack of this league. What was it like?
The pre-final, we had a little bit of carnage in the back, and I had to dodge a few wrecks. And then Trey was very nice and pushed me up to about 9th or 8th. And then the main event, I was set up for the fight at the wind. So.
Well, Isaac, you do a really good job of giving yourself the opportunity to win every race every week. You've had a Kyle Caesar problem to deal with. What have you been doing to prep every week to deal with Kyle before we bring him in?
Honestly, there's nothing I can really do. It's just I think I need to race him a little bit more, and I'll learn him a little bit more, and hopefully beat him at some point.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining us. We're going to bring Kyle in, but hey, that's a great race from you. Not being able to qualify and being able to finish on the podium. Really impressive stuff, Isaac. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm going to bring Kyle in next. All right, Kyle. Well, we appreciate you joining us in the booth. Another race win for you. That wasn't an easy process for you. Not only did you have to work through the fact that you couldn't qualify, but you worked your way through the pack. I asked Isaac earlier what was like racing through the pack with this league, and then being able to get that win with such good pressure from Chitterling behind.
Yeah, pushing through the pack was tough for sure, but I think people were kind of letting me by. I think people were being nice and braking a little early when they saw me coming up. I don't know if that's because they're being nice or because they're scared of me. I don't know that I'm going to wreck them or whatever, but honestly, it was pretty clean going through the pack, and then I was just trying to set up for a good feature. I knew I probably wasn't going to make it all the way to the front just in the heat, but try to get a good start in the feature and then try and make something of that.
Mark?
Yeah, brilliant stuff. How much are you thinking of the championship at this point? Because we saw Snetterton was a bit of a rough ride and knocked you down to P8. Do you still think the championship is on with 4 rounds to go?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know where the points are. I don't know how they'll shake out, but some of the coming up tracks, I think Road Atlanta's on there. That's one of my favorites. That'll be like a strong track for me, but then again, it'll be a pretty big draft track where anything can happen. But I'm going to try and get some good results, and I don't think whatever my perspective of the championship is going to change how I go out there and drive. So might as well just send it,
Well, speaking of the championship, you had the championship leader right behind you for that last few laps, but that last lap in particular, what was going through your mind, and what was that battle like with you and Chris Chitterling?
Yeah, I think a little earlier in the run, I was just kind of sitting behind Chris. You know, he had good pace, so I figured I would just chill for a little bit, kind of save the tires for later in the run. And I could tell he was kind of pushing hard because he was collecting some of the off tracks on the exits and things like that. And I could tell Isaac was pushing pretty hard behind as well. So just kind of chilling, saving the tires a bit, and then I think that helped me out towards the end when those guys had pretty hot tires, maybe a little bit of wear on them, and I just had nice cool tires, so I was kind of able to cruise. And Chris told me afterwards that that he had 16x at the end there. So I think if it wasn't for that, maybe he would have pushed a little harder, and it would have been a little tighter battle. But that definitely saved me a bit at the end.
Nice. That
Well,
does
that
not
battle
surprise
was-
me.
Sorry, Mark. That battle is about as tight as it gets. And congratulations on your win. And thank you for joining us in the booth. Now we have with us Chris Chitterling. You gave it your all. We saw you several times blasting it in the grass to get as much of a run you possibly could. Kyle just kind of gave your secret up. You had 16x going into it. Were you willing to take the penalty to get the win? Or what was it like in that last lap battle?
Well, I'd say that going in the grass really was not intentionally trying to get a run. It's just my lack of skill here at this track. I have a really hard time managing some of these corners, and that was not intentional. I got a weird 4x with like 2 to go, and that put me at 16x. And then I was like, oh, come on, because I really wanted to throw moves. All of my moves on Kyle earlier on were not really with the intention of it actually working out, but just to throw something in there, see if I can, you know, make a mistake and get a freebie, which was not very likely. And then at the end on the last lap, I think I definitely would have had a chance. There was at least 2 or 3 spots where I had to be conservative just so that I didn't risk getting another incident.
Right. I thought you were going to send it through the chicane Hislops with the tire barriers because it looked like Kyle went defensive, like he was worried about you, and I thought you were going to try and do the up and under. Was it that part of the track that you felt quicker than him, or were there some other corners where you felt strong?
No, I don't think I was really stronger than him anywhere. It was just, the draft makes you feel like you're better than you are here. And so I could only keep up with him in the draft. He made a couple of mistakes sometimes. But yeah, going into that chicane, I had tried it once before going in on the inside. And if you're offline there, it's really hard to maintain any pace without getting loose. And I kind of had a tank slapper in, I think it was the first race. And I was like, I'd rather not pass in that chicane.
I think we caught that actually on the stream. We're all in awe. There were a couple of real tank slapper moments, especially the exit of turn 1 and that chicane. So very exciting to watch, very entertaining. And your championship lead is still intact because you finished ahead of Isaac Gardner. I think you increased it.
Hey, there we go. Sounds good to me.
So what does the prep work look like going into the last 4 weeks with Osher Leben and Road Atlanta, Tsukuba, and Charlotte? Just give you a little intel. He said it on the broadcast that Road Atlanta is a favorite of Kyle Caesar. So do you have a solution to the Caesar problem?
Well, it really would help if he keeps getting incidents that make it so he can't qualify. Although he shows that even if he doesn't qualify, he will start the feature race at the front. So that'd be great, but can't expect it. I love Road Atlanta too. Doesn't mean I'm fast there. The track that you said that starts with a couple O's or 3 O's, I'm not sure. No idea what it looks like. I'm sure I've raced it before, but not often. So that'll be a fun learning experience. And a lot of these other tracks, though, I really do enjoy, like Tsukuba and everything. I absolutely love running some of these smaller tracks, and you don't really get to in a lot of the other series. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, impressive stuff, Chris. You showed your talent. I had a feeling that you were going to throw a move or throw the defense when you needed to, and you were able to hold off Isaac behind you, which is more important for the championship. But you definitely made a show for the win tonight. So I appreciate you driving out there. It was top quality stuff.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you guys for the awesome broadcast. I'm excited to watch it back.
Watch the introduction especially. It's really good.
I'll probably watch it 3 times.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, see you guys.
All right, well, we've covered our top 3. We interviewed all of them. If that excites you for more Broken Wing Racing League action, you can see our other series this Sunday. We've got round 8 of the GT3 Sprint. It's at Barber Motorsport Park. That's the championship choice, so it's not one of the officials. We've got to go and dig up some setups and make some Frankensteins.
Who would have picked that one, Mark?
I don't know, a pretty cool guy who drives a very fast Aston Martin, sponsored by a Mexican oil company. Then on next Tuesday, it's the Falcon Series. That's 1 hour of GT4 and LMP3 action. That's at Laguna Seca. That'll be a fun one in the P3. And then the ARCA Series returns on Wednesday for round 9. We've actually changed the calendar since I created this. It's no longer going to be a dirt track. Sorry, Dylan. It'll be a short track of linear.
It will be a dirt track.
Oh, it will?
The dirt linear, which is a little bit larger because we've had really good success and good car count in the NASCAR series. So Kern is a little tighter than linear. So we're switching that to linear because we've had good car count. And good luck, everybody else. I love me a dirt oval.
Dylan was born with dirt in his pockets. He's a dirt whisperer, you might say. But yes, and thanks again to the sponsors of this series, SimMotion. Again, doing a $500 gift card giveaway if you take part in 3 or more of the series across all those leagues. If you just do 3 GT3 races or 3 ARCA races, you are eligible. And they sell everything from round wheels, bases, pedals, all sorts. So check them out. Brandon Burns, overlay, speed reels, Juvecki Insurance, RDocs for the LMP3 setups, and the Get Good Racing School are all our kind sponsors.
And for more information about the league, our current series, and their schedules, as well as how to get involved and get in on the action, visit our website at BWRL.net. We saw a couple comments tonight on the Twitch chat, and hopefully we see you on YouTube. Come join us. We welcome any level of racing, and we will get you better, and we're happy to have you.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much, Dylan, for joining me as always. We'll see you next Thursday in Germany at Oschersleben for round 9.
Oschersleben, that's how you say it.
Ja, jawohl. All right. I'll see you. Gute Nacht und auf Wiedersehen. Bye-bye.